back, legends. I hope you're all fantastic. We're taking a look at some more Cygnus stuff. I've got the latest public beta release for the Axe FX 3, and it's got one of my favorite amp models updated now, the Recto 1, based on the old Revision G dual rectifier. I've got a Revision G dual rectifier hanging out back here, one of my favorite amps ever. I don't know about you, but I despised rectifiers for the longest time. Turns out I just didn't understand how they worked, and chances are you may have despised them for a little while as well, or maybe you still do and you don't get it. Hopefully I can change your mind, but you know, fizzy, flubby, recto-y, all those kind of things are thrown around, and I just didn't get why people liked them for the longest time. This is my standard kind of tirade. I always remember being on tour and playing through a triple rectifier as backline once, and it was not fun. I didn't know how to dial it in, and you know, shame on me for not knowing how to do that, because later I learned how to dial one in and it became my favorite amp. And far out, if you boost them, they're just like nothing else in the world. So anyway, Recto 1's updated. Nearly all the amp models are updated in here, so I'm guessing there's a full release at some point soon, which is pretty exciting. So if you're hanging out for the full release, I don't think it will be that much longer. Nevertheless, you dial up Recto 1 Orange Modern at the stock settings. I'm using my Greenback Cab IR LT-TV Mix 7. Just kind of been using this for everything. Bit of a gate, tiny little bit of Recording Studio C reverb. So stock settings, you plug it in and you go, yeah, I don't know why anyone wants this. You know, that's what a Recto is to a lot of people, I guess. Anyway, big thing with these amplifiers, the master volume maxes out around like 2 or something like that. Does it on my real amp. You get it to about 2, it's as loud as it's going to be. From there on, you turn it up and it just starts sounding looser, and you just get more power amp distortion, and I don't know, I'm not into it. So what we can do, let's dip the master to about 2 as a starting point. We'll go -6 on the level just to bring it up. Already, I think it's a little bit better. Okay, there's this huge low end thing going on, and we have knobs that we can twist. So let's turn the bass control down. You might want to go down all the way to 0, check it out, and then bring it up from there. Maybe let's try that. I like to bring the treble up, and then the mid-range is kind of the big thing. Just turn that to wherever you need it for the particular mix you're using. My favorite application of a Recto was always recording. You do a set of doubles with the Recto, and then you do a set of doubles with like a really mid-heavy amp, and you blend them, and that's kind of how you get the best out of them. So I would probably default to slightly less mid-range, but you can always bring the mids up. It's fine, there's a knob for that. The presence control on rectifiers is interesting as well. You kind of turn it up and it sort of, I don't know, makes the mid-range go down as well or something. I mean, check it out. My kind of reference for Recto tones is King's X Dogman, by the way. So this is starting to sound Dogman-y. You know, you have that what's that song? Black the Sky. have Doug Pinnick's distorted 12-string bass trundling underneath all of that, and it's like the heaviest thing you've ever heard. So that's a pretty good starting point. With any high gain amp, I really like to use my favorite speaker impedance curve. So let's go speaker, and you can play around with all of these, and they're basically kind of like the field control. So I like this 4x12 5153. Have a listen to what it does, especially to the low end. It's pretty drastic, right? So it just gets rid of that like gigantic boom. And I know people are going to be listening to all of this and going, it's too fizzy, there's too much low end, you're just going to cut all of that out anyway. You know, like I was saying, especially if you're quad tracking stuff, it's nice to have it there. It's nice to have the information, and rectos are rude and disgusting. The same way a Tweed Deluxe is rude and disgusting. That's why you use it. So yeah, this is basically what I would do there. But then the real fun, I think, is when you boost them, and we've got the precision drive in here. So we'll go unboosted and then boosted. Now, because that is sculpting out so much low end, I would go back to the amp and maybe bring the bass control up just a little bit, and we get this. Filthy, I really like it, so I think I'm going to commit this one to save. Recto 1 Red sounds really cool, and the vintage mode is really cool with these amps as well. And like I said, play around if you're recording, and especially if you're recording heavy rhythm guitars. You know, say you have your favorite really tight sounding amp, whether it's a 5150 or a Mark series or something. Do your set of doubles with your rhythm part, and then dial up these settings with the Recto and do another set of doubles and just kind of blend it in. It can really work to make your guitars pop in a mix. Or do the opposite, have the Recto as your main amp and then bring something else kind of more mid-rangey and tighter sounding. It's a really wonderful way to do that. So yeah, I think it's killer. I really like it. Let me know what you think about this amp model in the comments. As always, it's kind of a bit of a love-hate thing. So that's what's going on with the Rectos. I'm gonna swap guitars really quickly. All right, for scene 2 in this preset, I've got the 5F8 Tweed stock settings at the moment. So this is like an old Tweed twin. The cabinet IR that I've got dialed up at the moment is it's still the same one. Let's change that. Let's go to channel B, and there's this factory kind of twin IR. I think it's one of Matt Picone's ones. There it is, double verb 58. I'm gonna use this cab IR. I'm just gonna low cut at 80 Hertz, and I'll leave the high cut at 10K. I can probably turn the gate off as well. I don't really need it for this. So yeah, the old Tweed twin Strat. These are Sir Michael Landau pickups, neck pickup. I'm just gonna kind of dial this in. This has probably been my favorite like gritty amp. Really cool. I like that you can really push the presence with this particular amp. It takes compressors and it takes drives like an absolute champ. Let's start off with this compulsion distortion. I might just kind of bring the drive up a tiny little bit. It's got that wonderful stratty thing on the kind of in-between positions here. And I would say, kind of playing around with this all day, it's one of those things where, and this is going to sound ridiculous out of context, but you know what I mean. My guitars really sound like my guitars, more so than ever with this particular update. Like, you know, this quack position here on the Strat really, really sounds quacky. Let's hear the comp. What have I got? I think the JFET compressor. I'll just bring the level up because I kind of like using this as a boost as well. That's with a comp and a drive. Let's hear a fuzz instead. We'll go and use the face fuzz, and I'll kind of try this out. If you go to the input block, you can set the impedance to try 90K. This plays really nice with your volume control with the fuzz. So we'll start full on, and then I'll back it off a little bit. What should I do, neck pickup? Let's do neck pickup. So you get all those kind of shades of fuzz in between. I really like that with the volume at about 5. That's really nice. If I do that and play around with the impedance, I think you really kind of hear the effect that I'm talking about. So, okay, there's my rolled off tone. Let's hear a couple of different impedance settings. We'll start with 1 meg and go down. I actually think I like this 90K with cap. So yeah, play around with that with the fuzz. It's a really, really cool feature there. And then I should show you these delays as well. So it's a pair of these vintage digital delays. One is panned hard left, one's panned hard right with lots of modulation. I'll show you why I use 2 of them in a second, but it's really, really fun. Heaps of feedback on there. So the reason I did this was I wanted to, so I've panned the echoes. I want basically the same echo on either side. So they're the same time, the same amount of feedback, but with the modulation on this one, I've set the phase to 90 degrees, and this one I've set it to 0. So I probably could have used a dual delay to do this. I've also done some bit reduction and added a bit of drive in there. So yeah, I've just really been enjoying that. You can play around with reversing the phase on one of them. That's super fun as well. So yeah, anyway, that's the Tweed Twin with a couple of pedals in front of it. The last one is the Brit 800 mod. That one I really liked for just kind of, you know, 80s rock and roll tones. So I'll get a kind of 80s style rock and roll guitar and we'll try the Brit 800 mod. All right, Brit 800 mod. This is a Schrader Marksman from Hamburg in Germany. It's got a new old stock PJ Marks humbucker in it and a Godot Floyd Rose. So not my everyday ride, but I've been enjoying this guitar a lot recently. Brit 800 mod, stock settings, we get this. I'm back to the TV mix cab, am I? Yes, I am. So gotta play some Rat. So it's already pretty cool. You know, I would probably go for like a big hall reverb on this. So let's try that. Let's go the concert hall reverb, kind of the Lexicon style one. I really like this. And I'm gonna bring the input drive up, take some mids out, add some hair in there with the treble control, maybe a bit of bass. And yeah, we get this. There's my one Floyd Rose trick as well. You know what I have to say? I really like the precision drive with Marshalls as well. So let's kick it in. Should I tweak the settings from what I had with the Recto? Probably, but let's have a listen to it. So now with a kind of more modern style boost in front of it. The neck pickup on this is crazy bright, so maybe a different boost with that, but otherwise, pretty fun. So that's a Brit 800 mod. You don't really have to do a lot to that one. The CCV is awesome. I featured that one on previous videos, and still my favorite of all time is that USA lead mid gain. So you all know all about that one there. So if I remember, I will post this preset up. If I haven't, feel free to pester me in the comments. Otherwise, you can go to the Fractal forum and try this firmware out. If you want, it's going to change your presets a lot. Just be aware of that, or wait for the full release. I'm sure it won't be too much longer. And the more I think about it, the more I want to play with some of that USA lead. So I'm going to do that. Enjoy.